Hello. Welcome to Tutors of Life podcast, where we research life so you don't have to. Episode 465 this year. Host Shaun Tutor.
And this is Sam. And this is a tutor episode where we try to teach you something new.
What's up?
It's a wonderful Sunday.
Wonderful Sunday.
Running on 5 hours of sleep.
Lily was a shithead.
Yep.
Just got up from a very long nap.
Yeah, shithead. I told Reese, I was like, I just want you to know, yesterday she only napped for half an hour. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and now we're on a 2-hour nap. I was like, it's like she knows that we have a babysitter.
So stupid. Nothing like paying for a babysitter to sit here while she sleeps. But that is life. Mm-hmm. That's actually almost every day at the office.
Yeah.
She just sleeps for like 2 to 3 hours a day at the office.
Mm-hmm. Friday she slept for 3.5 hours. 3.5 out of Natalie's 4-hour shift.
This is so stupid.
So dumb.
Does she only sleep that long because she's usually on someone?
Natalie does put her down.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. She may not like for the whole time. Like she may like start off holding her and then puts her down. I think she does both, to be honest.
That's so crazy, dude. Mm-hmm. So crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta think that was 2 hours in her crib. She would have kept going if we didn't have the podcast.
Truth.
She's done 3 hours in her crib.
That's so crazy.
Well, duh. She sleeps overnight.
Well, yeah. We'll fucking get her to sleep that long overnight lately, huh, Sam? Tell me about it, huh?
I'm miserable today. It's okay.
Last night was rough for Sam.
Mm-hmm. It was.
I even had to get up a couple times.
Yeah.
Brutal.
It was bad.
Brutal.
Yeah, I think she's teething really bad. Because it seemed like nothing was helping.
Nope.
So.
Anyways, that is life. Mm-hmm. And here we are. Mm-hmm. I saw some fun stuff in the news. Trump bombed Venezuela, right?
Yeah.
And then captured President Maduro.
Yeah. Dictator or is it president?
I don't really know. The leader of Venezuela,
yeah.
Maduro.
Yeah.
So that's cool. There's like talks, right, about us taking over and getting their oil reserves going. Is that a thing?
Well, with us taking over Venezuela, then we just, I think, assume their
oil. Okay, so how did all of a sudden we go to conquering other countries?
I mean, I think when you just arrest the president, then you just get to take over, right?
I mean, you do.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. But, like, why did we?
I'm just over here like this, dude. How long? Like to me, it's just like there's not a lot of countries like going in and taking over other countries.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, remember when we were in Portugal and they were like, the Portuguese were just conquering everything? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there really is not a lot of that anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people, and then out of nowhere, Trump's just like, let's get Venezuela. Let's get that oil. Does it say, like, is there anywhere that says, like, the game, like, why this, like, what the game plan is, you know, essentially?
I did see somewhere that, he did it to mainly put pressure on, like, because China and Russia and some other place were we're secretly, like, trading oil in, like, their own currency.
Okay.
And we decided to take Venezuela, since they have the most oil, to kind of, like, have the upper hand in the whole thing.
So this is all about power.
Oh, 100%, yeah. So I don't think it's like, it wasn't to do anything because of Venezuela. It was to make sure, like, Russia and China, I think, didn't have access to that oil. Huh. Is what, like, a different post I read.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is Venezuela a bad country?
Are they a bad country? Like, against us? Or what do you mean?
Like a communist country?
Um,
I mean, so is China and Russia, but
I guess I wouldn't be surprised because it said, like, one of these said, why did Venezuela have so much oil but still had such a terrible economy? And it was, like, mismanagement of funds.
sure. That makes sense. Oh, unlike the U.S.,
Yeah,
because
we
we
don't.
manage funds so good.
Yeah.
So give a couple stats. How much oil's there?
303, what is it, million barrels?
303 billion
Billion barrels?
barrels of crude oil.
Yep, billion barrels. So 17% of the global supply.
And its value somewhere is in the realm of like 18 trillion.
18 trillion, yep.
Okay. So obviously you've got to produce it in shit. So it's not like you're making 18 trillion profit. But I mean, that's a lot of money. By adding that on, I mean, you could wipe out a serious amount of our debt. The issue is this. And hey, you want to know what, dude? I am all for conquering. This might sound bad, and I don't care. I truly believe if you can't operate as a country and someone is funding you or has more power, why not take them over? You know, if it's that easy, to take over a country, then just do it. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked on the last podcast, I think we fund 196 countries. Okay, how many of those could just be United States now?
Oh, so many.
Okay, then we got their resources.
Sorry, real quick. So the U.S. would operate the Venezuelan government for the time being, by the way.
You know, it's probably better than what they have, but it probably ain't much better. The U.S. government fucking sucks.
Right. Well, it said we're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure. That's apparently one of his sentences. I don't know why they just left that there
Weird.
and didn't finish that sentence.
Yeah, so that's cool. That makes sense. It could be really good.
Oh, so their planning is to try and make Venezuela a bigger supplier of oil. So that's what he means by the oil infrastructure. So they must have lots of like oil fields and stuff like that there. But they just don't have like the resources to produce as much oil as like they could.
Right. That's pretty cool. Problem is, anything our government gets their hands into just goes to shit anyways. So as great as this might sound, as great as it could be to boom the economy and like pay down the debt, none of that matters. We never fixed our spending issue. Doge isn't a thing anymore. Doge was our only chance of like getting this country back. So essentially we are, it's like this. We talk about it all the time. It don't matter how much money you make if you don't know how to spend it.
Right.
If you spend more money than you make, it doesn't matter how much you make. You're going to go bankrupt. And, you know, I think this was probably a very strategic move and it's probably a very good idea. But at the end of the day, we never fixed our spending habits. So let's say this 18 trillion, let's say, you know, cost to get it where it's at or whatever. Let's say it's like 50-60%. So let's say you're going to get $8 trillion. That could all go to paying back our like debt. Won't happen because we add to the debt every year and we've fucked it. So first and foremost, we got to get Doge back in there. That shit's got to, we got to figure out all this fraud and shit, as we talked about happening over in Little Somalia and shit in the cities. There's just way too much fraud in the country. And that's why you get the folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene. And there's so many people online, and Sam and I are huge proponents of it, of the tax revolt, not paying the taxes. I was talking to Ryan last night, and I believe that you probably do need a little bit of taxes. Ryan's a little more liberal in that realm than me, for like a little, thinks that there should be a little more government and stuff like that. I think we should have like bare bones government. Like government is literally your freaking Department of War, your police force, your EMTs, your fire, and that's about it. I don't think there should really be much more than like civil services offered to people. I guess to keep the balance big for the government, to the asset balance big, you'd obviously need some like financial department, and then you'd also need some level of maybe like not necessarily like a full-blown Parks and Rec, but some sort of land asset managing, but that could be contracted out to private parties. You don't have to have that all in house.
Right.
So like, let's say they have parks and everything, and they own public land. Well, instead of having employees, you could just submit out for bids and have people, like private companies, give the best bids, which is beautiful, because then you have people like competing against each other, right?
Right, because like right now, like we've heard like with concrete work, like it sounded like the city was mainly only using one company because they wanted it now instead of going through the proper channels of getting actual bids and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they're paying like 50% more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they weren't properly doing things in the right order. They were just like, no, we need this done right now. So this company could charge whatever they wanted because they could do it now.
Right. And that's everywhere, right? So if you were to have, a lot lower tax, maybe like a 5% tax, everyone gets a 5% income tax only. I don't know, something. Maybe it's 5% state, 5% government. But anyways, you do that and you incentivize passing the budget. If you don't, if at the end of the year, when you consolidate your budget, if it doesn't consolidate, the person in charge gets fired. It's that easy. And so if the balance sheet budgets out and everything, then they can serve another term. But so anyways, there's got to be, I believe, I'm on the other side of like, I'm very libertarian in the realm of, I think we need as small of government as possible. Mm-hmm. I think government's still very important, but it should be very, very small.
Mm-hmm. And I'll go over this real quick. To prove a point, Maduro was socialist.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2013 is when he took over. Their oil production went down 75% since he got into office.
Well, New York City should listen to that.
Yeah. So it goes to show, like, because he just did his socialist things and didn't do things properly like he was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just goes to show, like, when you have too much government regulation, it can really hinder things.
Absolutely. Almost every time you get government regulation, it makes things worse. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, with all that being said, the tax revolt seems like a good option to stop the government spending, because the government will then have to lay people off. People will quit working because they're not getting money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the issue. I still think we should do that. Like, folks listening to this, I still think we should do that. And if you're on board, let me know. We should all do that. We should all do a tax revolt. But they're just going to print more money.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Federal Reserve. We are not backed by the gold standard, so they're just going to print more money so they can keep spending. What does that mean? Every time they print money, right now I think they're printing $40 billion a week.
What?
Yeah, check it out. It might be $40 billion a month. But yeah, check that out. They just turned back on the money printers December 11th or something. Watch, check out Clear Value Tax on YouTube. Brian is his name. He's a G. But they're just going to print money. And they're going to, look what happened during COVID and shit. They printed money and devalued the dollar massively. We talked about it a bunch. Since 1971, the dollar's purchasing power is 90% of what it was. So in 55 years, your purchasing power is 90% of what it was. So they'll print money. They'll devalue the dollar. And if you had cash laying around, it's going to be worth nothing. There's going to be a new currency. That dollar will be worth nothing. You're pretty much only hedge against this is like having assets. You have to have assets. You have to have, maybe it's stocks, bonds, whatever, real estate, shit that you can liquidate quick, collector cars, whatever. Gold, silver, maybe your cryptocurrencies, but I don't know. I feel like they could shut that shit off. I don't know enough about it, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but maybe they could shut it off. Maybe they can't. But assets is really the only thing that's going to hedge against this. And no matter what, I mean, if they're already printing anyway, so your only chance is assets. And like Sam and I've talked about it, we like saving money. We like moldy money. Because we like sitting on cash waiting for opportunities. Well, the issue is with how the economy is looking and how terrible the government is, and the fact that they keep printing money, the chances of us keeping our cash is not a good thing. Because a little bit of cash reserves is good, but if they keep printing money, if people quit paying taxes and they print a ton of money, our money's going to be worth nothing.
Dude, I guess I did think about this. So, when you say printing money, I only think of physical printing money.
Mm-hmm.
But they can just create electronic money.
Correct.
That's wild to me.
How much are they creating?
So it just says in 2025, an order was put in for 4.1 to 5.9 billion notes valued at 83.2 to 113 billion dollars. It says primarily to replace old notes and meet demand, but we know what that means. So.
Yep.
Oh. God, dude, this is wild. So you can look up on the federalreserve.gov, you can see the charts of how much money we've printed in every year and whatnot. So they gave a chart of the denominations for this year. And $50 bills is 0 to $2.5 million. That's what they're going to print. That's a pretty big range.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't get any more specific, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, wild So who is in charge of like putting in the orders? Does the president, or is the Federal Reserve like completely separate?
Federal Reserve standalone.
Dang. Dang, that's wild.
Because the Federal Reserve is not even a government entity.
Not at all.
I don't believe so.
Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. What's that mean? About the Fed. The Federal Reserve System is the central bank of the United States. It performs 5 general functions to promote the effective operation of the U.S. economy and, more generally, the public interest. The Federal Reserve conducts the nation's monetary policy to promote maximum employment, stable prices, and moderate long-term interest rates in the U.S. economy, promotes the stability of financial system, and seeks to minimize and contain systemic risks through active monitoring and engagement in the U.S. and abroad, promotes the safety and soundness of individual financial institutions and monitors their impact on the financial system as a whole, fosters payment and settlement system safety and efficiency through services to the banking industry and the U.S. government that facilitates U.S. dollar transactions and payments, and promotes consumer protection and community development through consumer-focused supervision and examination, research and analysis of emerging consumer issues and trends, community economic development activities, and the administration of consumer laws and regulations. So the board members are Jerome Powell, who is the chair,
Yep.
Philip Jefferson, who's the vice chair. He might be of color. Michelle Baumann is the vice chair for supervision. Michael Barr. I know a Michael Barr, but obviously much younger than this one. Lisa Cook. Stephen Moran, whose head looks way too small for his body. And Christopher Waller. Interesting. They all look like you'd see him on a list for Epstein's Island.
They probably are. Yeah, I think if we just went back to the gold standard, we probably wouldn't even need that Federal Reserve.
Yeah, no, probably not.
Or just a lot smaller.
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm very, this is just weird.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just researching. I highly suggest going onto the website. They have lots of information. federalreserve.gov. Did you know our reserve bank is in Minneapolis? We're actually really close. I can't tell if we're in District 9 or District 7. We're pretty close. So it's either Minneapolis or Chicago. We're like right on the border.
Nice.
Which I think is wild. Wisconsin is one of the few states that is like cut in half. So Wisconsin's cut, and then which state is that? New Mexico is cut. Maybe Louisiana too. But most of them, like, they keep the states as wholes.
Damn.
Oh, Illinois is cut in half too. So, anyways.
Yeah. So, what all we can do is keep operating and doing what you do. But if you haven't been paying attention, you should start looking at the trends. I mean, I was just updating our property list and our personal financial statement, and I'm like, fuck. Just based on what shit's selling for, what these properties valued at in early 21, or I'm sorry, what these properties valued at in early 22. I mean, dude, a lot of them were up 10% in value. And so it's like seeing that there's already been a 10% appreciation in 3 years. And seeing like what the dollar, like how much more expensive everything else is, right? Like that inflation, if you just had cash chilling, that's not good. If you got shit making, anything under 8% or so in like a retirement account, you're probably barely breaking even with your money. So it's just good to look at now and like start paying attention to this shit that like, I don't like this. I wish I could just save my money and not have to like spend it on assets and shit because, you know, you're afraid it's going to be worth nothing. But that's sadly the case right now. I believe that there's only going to be more money printing. I believe price of shit's only going to go up. And maybe there'll be little corrections here and there. But until the government is overthrown and the dollar goes back on the gold standard, dollar purchasing power is only going down. Asset prices are only going up. There might be little couple year blips where that's not the case, but for the most part, that is the case. So it sucks, but buying assets now, I mean, we talked about gold. In the last 20 years, like gold, I don't even remember what it was. The difference was like 21 ounces of gold in '05 was like the same as 4 ounces today.
2.5 today.
2.5?
Yeah. I think 21 ounces in 2005 is the same as 2.5 ounces now.
Okay.
$10,000 worth.
So there you fucking go. That is absurd. You're talking, what, 200, that 20.5 is what, $250,000 then in gold?
Yeah. Wait.
That 10 grand would now be, I don't have my calculator.
I don't need to.
But whatever. Assets are like the only option right now is buying assets of sorts. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't have to be that way, but that's the government we live in. We've all been too complacent, and we get taxed 50, 60%. So this is the world we live in. Mm-hmm. There's no consequences. No one's holding the people at the government accountable, and so this is what we get. What you learning over there, Sam?
Oh, I'm reading their minutes from their meeting on December 9th and 10th.
Awesome. What did we learn?
Not much. They just look at and pretty much guess what they think is going to happen.
Yep.
To the point of like they're looking what like our GDP growth is going to be through 2028. There's no way you're going to be able to guess that. That's 3 full years. So you're trying to guess what, like, the president, anything's going to do in the next 3 years.
That's tough. That's
so tough. They did say unemployment is up a tiny bit.
Yep.
It's at like 4.4% or whatever.
Yep.
And then they talked about payroll, like prices have increased a tiny bit, so like giving raises and stuff.
Sure.
And they estimate $220 billion in consumer spending this year.
$220 billion in consumer spending?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was something like that. I don't know. Let's see here. When the estimated size of expected purchases varied considerably across respondents, on average, respondents anticipated net purchases of about $220 billion over the first 12 months of purchases. I don't know what that means, but okay.
I don't know if I do either.
I don't know. A lot of this stuff, I think they purposely make it complicated so then people can't
Understand. That's definitely what they do.
Yep.
Huh. Let's see here. So yeah, lesson of the day, start looking into trends, start looking into what's happened with the financial like situation in the country, and start researching assets you want to buy. Mm-hmm. And I had a friend of mine tell me the other day, he was sitting down with his dad and his dad's attorney buddy, and they were all having big stogies. I think he said he was 18. He's in his late 60s now. So 50 years ago, he was sitting down with his dad and this attorney having cigars. And the attorney said, in today's climate, if you're not saving and then investing 35% of your gross income, you're fucked.
35%?
35% of your gross income, you're fucked.
That's ridiculous.
That's a ton, dude. Because we try to do like 50% of our after.
Yeah.
But fucking 35 of your gross is insane.
Oof.
But anyways, yeah, he's like that. So that we were talking about that the other day. And that's wild. But I mean, not entirely wrong, because what he said, so this was 50 years ago, so you got to think this is 5 years removed from the dollar getting off the gold standard, right?
Right.
So the attorney's saying if you want to have your same, like, if a guy wants to have his same level of living back in 1976-ish that he does when he goes to retire, say 40 years later, then he's going to need to put aside 35%. Because, I mean, yeah, and then you figure you got to retire, you're not getting income, so you're going to have had really good growth, and then your purchasing power's gone down drastically, so I don't know. It probably doesn't sound crazy if we think about it. Because you're talking about essentially retaining your level of wealth when you retire without continuing to earn money. I don't know.
In these notes too, you can see like who votes for stuff.
That's good.
Like voting for and voting against.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought it was interesting.
Cool. You got anything else, Sam?
Not really.
You got nothing for the folks?
I don't know. It's just we're in a weird time right now. Obviously. So personally, I would stop consuming, stop spending money on shit. Take your kids outside and enjoy the outdoors instead of doing activities. Read a book instead of watching TV. Save some money wherever you can. Try to make yourself better any way you can. And when you get some extra money, then invest it. Or whenever you get your paycheck in, just automatically put it in Robinhood and invest it into the S&P 500. At least that, because that you're almost guaranteed to make some money on it.
Yeah.
Almost. So I would just highly recommend that, because one thing we have learned, Shaun just listened to a different video on, is if you will adjust the means you need to live in based on how much money you have. So most people, like we've discussed before, like we put a lot of our like money in a different account right away because we know if that money's in our account, we're just going to spend it. So if you just accept that 10%, you can even start with 5%. Start with 5%, move that into Robinhood before anything else comes out of your bank account. You will learn to adjust to that. And then once you adjust to that, then up it to 10%. Then you'll adjust to that. And I promise you, you're not going to be spending, like, I'm sure people are like, well, I'm going to only be eating ramen for days, blah, blah, blah. No, you'll realize, oh, shit, going out to McDonald's is way more expensive than going to the grocery store and getting all my food and actually cooking meals. And then you realize, oh, man, cooking meals with my family is actually a lot more enjoyable than going to McDonald's. Now I get to teach my kids life skills of how to cook food. Oh, you don't know how to cook food? Good thing there's a thing called YouTube, which is free. So, just take these little things and they'll slowly snowball. And I bet you're going to be happier.
Yes.
So that's what I got.
Love it. Depending, maybe next week we'll
Oh, and also, if you don't have much money, don't go to BAM and buy a book. Don't go to Amazon and buy a book. Go to Savers or Goodwill. Because guess what? Their books are way cheaper.
or go to the library.
Or go to the library. That's valid. That's also free.
Next week,
Yes.
maybe, depending, we may discuss why most families would benefit from a single income household over a dual income household.
Yes. I love it.
Dude,
You'll be shocked, guys. You will be shocked.
it's so crazy. Like,
Because we were shocked.
dude, well, I shouldn't necessarily say we were shocked. We knew the math and stuff, but we watched a video on it being broken down by the number, and it's like, yo,
Yeah.
that is, yeah. So we'll chat about that next week. I'm thinking so you folks can know that if you're a dual income household, it might be more beneficial for you to be a single, and why. Mm-hmm. All right, gang, thanks for tuning in. We will catch you on the next one.
See ya.